Hello, this is Group E, and this is Liu Chenjia. I will talk to you about the question 5.1, one simple proportion test. The question is the claim that 42% of those persons who returned before the age of 65 would return to work if a suitable job was available, is to be investigated at the 0.05 level of significance. If 74 out of the 200 work supervisors said they would return to work, what is our decision? Now this is the solution. From the question, we can know the null hypothesis is P equals to 0.42, and the alternative hypothesis is P don't equals to 0.42. Now we can calculate that J is equals to negative 1.4327. The critical range is less than negative 1.96 and J is larger than 1.96. Since negative 1.4327 is larger than negative 1.96, we do not reject the null hypothesis at 0.05 level of significance. So we can make a decision that 42% of those persons who retired before the age of 65 would return to work if a suitable job was available.
Hi, this is Song Zhuoyang, here to explain question 5.3. First, let's look at the question. The average cost of tuition fee at post-secondary colleges is reported to be $8,500 per term, but a financial administrator believes that the average cost is higher. A study conducted using 45 post-secondary colleges showed that the average cost per term is $8,945, with a standard deviation of $1,200. Test at 5% level of significance. Is there evidence that the average cost of tuition is more than $8,500? From the question, we may see that the level of significance is 0.05. The n is 45. It is larger than 30. Therefore, we can use the distribution when testing the hypothesis. The x-bar is $8,945. The standard deviation is 1,200. The null hypothesis is mu equals to 8,500. The alternative hypothesis is mu is larger than 8,500. Then we can calculate z. It is 2.4876. According to the critical region of Z distribution, we may see the level of significance of 0.05 is 1.96. It is smaller than the Z we calculated. Therefore, we can conclude that we should reject the null hypothesis at 5% level of significance. Therefore, there is no evidence that the average cost of tuition is more than $8,500.
Hello everyone, I'm Ying Wei from Group E, and I'm going to explain the question 5.4. First, let's read the question. A sample of university students was asked as a part of comprehensive survey whether they favor the newly proposed environmental policy. At the 0.01 level of significance, can we conclude that there is a larger proportion of male students in favor of the newly proposed environmental policy? First, we need to calculate a sample proportion of males and females who in favor of the new policies. Here is the step of the calculation, the sample proportion of males in favor of the policies. And we can get a proportion P1 is 0.28. And here is the calculation that the sample of proportion of the females in favor of the new policies, and we can get the P2 is 0.2475. After that, we can begin the hypothesis test. We've set H0 is P1 equals to P2, and H1 is P1 minus P2 larger than 0. After that, we should calculate the Z by using this formula, and we can get a final result of Z is 1.559. After that, we should decide a critical region, because in the problem it says alpha is 0.01. And due to our setting of H0 and H1, so the critical region should be Z larger than the Z alpha, which Z alpha from checking the table is 2.326. And the result is that our Z is smaller than the Z alpha. So we fail to reject H0. And we can get the final conclusion that we cannot conclude that there is a larger proportion of male students in favor of the newly proposed environmental policy. Thanks for your listening.
Let's go to the question 5.5. A financial planner wants to compare the yield of income fund and growth mutual fund. $50,000 is invested in each of a sample of 35 income funds and 40 growth funds. The mean increase for a 2-year period for the income funds is $900. For the growth funds, the mean increase is $875. Income funds have a population standard deviation of $13. Growth funds have a population standard deviation of $45. At the 0.02 significance level, is there a difference in the mean years of the two funds? For the income funds, N1 is equal to 35, X1 is equal to 900, S1 is equal to 30. For the growth funds, N2 is equal to 40. X2 is equal to 875, S2 is equal to 45. Because N1 is larger than 30 and N2 is larger than 32, so we use Z-task instead of T-task. For the H0, mu1 plus mu2 is equal to 0. So the H1, mu1 plus mu2 isn't equal to 0. So it is a possible deviation in either direction of the population parameter. So we use the two-tiered task. We can get that Z is equal to 2.8613. From the table of the standardized ANOVA distribution, the Z negative 0.01 is equal to negative 2.33, and Z 0.01 is equal to 2.33. So the Z is less than Z negative 0.01 and is larger than Z 0.01. Therefore, the conclusion is that we reject H0 and 0.02 level of significance, so there is a difference in the mean years of the two funds.
For the question 5.10, the chi-square test. A survey of the opinions of people about Lantern Tomorrow project, a randomly select sample of Hong Kong citizens, was contacted and the results are shown below. Test where there's an association between the opinion and the age at the 5% level of the significance. So firstly, we calculate the sum of the rows and the columns. And then we calculated the value in the brackets. We multiply the table total row I by the table total of the column J and divide by the sample size, which is 210. So we have to hypothesize here. The opinion and age are independent, and the opinion and age are not independent. We calculate the value of the test and sum it up. We can find that the value for the test is larger than the value in the chi-square table, with 5% level of significance, and the degree of freedom is equal to 4. So we should not reject H1. There is an association between the age and their opinion.